The reality check for everybody is the word of God. If you say God spoke to you by a dream, that doesn't align with what is in the scriptures, that's a check to say this cannot be from God. But you say, God spoke to you. And then you do the biblical reality check and you see that this is not in consonance with the word of God. Then you can actually know that, look, this should not be from God. So it's the same model that we can adopt to say, okay, when you look at the fruits, and you look at what is in the scriptures, you know that this person, the balance is not balancing.
Hi everyone, you're welcome to the Petra Global Podcast. Here we have amazing discussions about your faith and how it relates to your sphere of influence, be it politics and governance, family, entertainment, fashion, health, and many more. Join us. Yeah, that's amazing. You will always know when you look at it, you can see. Know, yes. Just like the way we see people in governance, they want to run for the second term. You know already from what they are doing.
Like from what they've done in that first term. They will still want to convince you that 4 years is not enough.
When election comes,
politicians say 4 years is not enough to create heaven on earth. At this level where we are, we're about opening the gate of heaven so that the floodgates.
Just rush.
But when you look at what they've done within 4 years, number one thing you need to look at is what is your lifestyle before you go into politics compared to your lifestyle after 3 years, after 4 years. You get to see people that before they joined politics or they joined the government, you see that the car they are using, sometimes to fuel the car is a problem. But when they are now in politics, let me not use when they are not in politics, when they are now in government, you see that they change cars almost every six months. Not because, that is the procedure. Because government is not that also extravagant. It's not so that, a place where money should be thrown at you, everything should be at your disposal. No, there are also checks and balances in place. There are budgetary allocations for what you do and what you cannot do. So, those are places where you do your reality check to know if this person is credible enough or not. However, there's also the need for us to, we're Nigerians. Let's also look at the Nigerian factor that do people really want people to do well in government? Because if it still comes down to orientation and literacy, political literacy. For example, the average person in the populace wants the elected public official to do everything. There's no distinction between a legislator and somebody in the executive arm of government. The basic function of a lawmaker is to make law. Somebody who is in the House of Reps, House of Assembly, or Senate is lawmaking, not building of roads and bridges. But because of the society we found ourselves, go and propose 150 bills as a member of the House of Reps. That has, influenced the policies of governments, influenced, what happens in the private sector, public sector, and all of that. If you don't pay people's WAEC fees, if they don't see you doing road, if they don't see you buying sewing machines and refrigerators for people,
and rice, give me rice.
Trust me, they will say, if they go to your house and they say, it's Christmas, and don't share rice. So, we also need to do the reality check of. There is also the need to educate the populace on certain information. That look, when this person is in government, he is not there to solve all our problems. There are people, the governors are there, the local government chairmen are there, the councillors are even legislators in their own rights. But the executive chairman, the commissioners, and maybe the advisors to the local government chairman, those are the people that are elected or appointed to critically look at some of the problems in the society. So, I think we also need to do so well in taking that awareness to the grassroots to actually say, look, it is not everybody that you vote for. It is not everybody that you elect that is supposed to perform certain responsibilities. But, it is still the way it is.
Yeah.
So sometimes I read a publication in one of the dailies. A former House of Reps actually mentioned, House of Reps member actually mentioned that some people in National Assembly actually run into debt every month because of the demand from their constituents, people in their constituencies. The demand for some people want to get married, they need you to support. Some people want to bury their father, they need support. Some people want to go to school, you have to drop money. So by the time you even calculate the amount an average legislator earns on monthly basis, at the end of the month, it's either the person is stealing or the person is borrowing money based on his or her own integrity, or somebody is using his own personal funds to augment some things. So there is a challenge with people in leadership. There's also a major challenge among the followers. So it now comes to how do we, help our people to understand that, look, if this person doesn't give you this money, you will not die. If this person doesn't pay this thing, you will not faint. Allow this person to perform the jobs they are given so that they are not tempted, so that they are not pushed to do what they are not supposed to do. And there's also another menace generally now, vote buying. Or let me use the word vote merchandise. Because it is not only the politicians that are willing to buy. If there's no willing seller, the willing buyer will not be able to, will not exist. So those are some of the things that are also there, that sometimes if a believer is in politics, some of these influences also push people to actually go to some unnecessary extremes. But of course, you want to serve your 4th-year term and you want to be a good Christian and go back to your house. That is the best option for you.
Go back to your house.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you so much. You have done amazing justice to this question. So, our final question.
Yeah.
Someone like me that have no foreknowledge of politics, if I want to go into politics,
yes,
what are the steps? How can I do that?
Okay, thank you, Ayo.
Yes.
So, as a young person who, doesn't have the knowledge of politics, but you want to go into politics. So it starts with where you are. The first reality check you have to do is, why do you want to go into politics?
Why?
So you need to be able to define your why, so that why is what will influence the decisions you make from that point. So if your why is right, then what you need to do is look at yourself. Are you, your personality, do you fit into this? You understand? If it is something that you know that you're not really there, so what you first need to do is to learn some basic things. Number one, learn how to relate with people. Learn how to mobilize people. Learn how to, be a person of the people. From there, you also look at the fact that there are some people that are already in politics around you. Find a way to connect with them. And be mindful of the fact that, sometimes some of these people are not of the same faith.
Yes.
Sometimes some of these people don't share your principles. So you must be able to understand, the limits. What do you want from these people? So that you know what you want, and then you don't get influenced by certain other things. For example, I traveled to a particular state some weeks back. I know they were doing something that had several politicians around. I saw politicians I knew. And, when the politician got to the hotel, he asked a certain question. So, do you have this? Do you have that? I'm now like, wait. These are people we call political leaders. The first thing you are asking for when you got here was, something to just satisfy your pleasure, to just, I'm like, so imagine if you have to be around a politician like that.
Yes.
So you must be able to know that when you are getting into these waters, truly it is dirty. But the reality is, you must know your limits. Because if you want to make a change, there are some things you can't dip your hands into. There are some politicians that would deliberately want you to cross some lines. So that when the time comes, you are elected, they have your cockroach in your cupboard. They have your files. So they will say, look, we know you are not who you are thinking you are. Maybe you did X, Y, Z before you were elected. So they will keep those files because when you get there, you want to get some advantages that are naturally against your own personal principles. So that is why, when you're moving close to, the waters, you need to wear your very long rain boots so that, you don't get soaked, you don't get drenched. So another thing is, look for a political party that aligns with your own personal ideology. There's something that is very vital in politics. That's ideology. So your ideology has to align with the ideology of the political party you want to join. Because at the end of the day, they have their principles, you have your principle. So you will get to come in conflict on principle basis if you don't do those checks before you get there. Then you also need to look at the fact that going into politics means that you need to make a lot of sacrifice. There are times that, they will call for meetings in the dead of the night. You have to be there. So you need to be able to prepare your family, prepare your loved ones, and look, I'm going into this. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice from all of you. So that when you are getting deep into it, you are not having issues at home. With your children and your wife and your loved ones. For those periods, those moments, they will have to just be praying for you that Then you also need to be able to carry your own family members along, because for some of the people that are familiar with American politics, there are some certain things that no matter how you think the society is, there are certain things they don't joke with when it comes to their leaders. They don't want to have a leader who doesn't have a good home. They don't want to have a leader,
because it just shows
with some questionable family history. You understand?
And that's credibility too.
That's credibility. So they want to, do credibility checks on who the leader, or who the leader to be is.
Yes.
So for you as a person, you must put your house in order as well, so that when you are not distracted, you don't have things people can use against you when you get to the field. So look at some of those checks. First, check yourself.
Why?
Look at your why. Then secondly, go to your community. You must also look at it's not everybody that should go into that should contest in elections. You understand?
Yeah.
So we must understand that you might be a technocrat, that what you do during the election process is supporting the people contesting with your resources, with your ideas. Some of us have written campaign manifestos for people. You understand? We have written some, campaign documents that were useful for politicians. So by the time when they're having their meetings, don't sit down in your house. Follow them. You're not the person contesting, but you're also learning. When they're having the meetings in the dead of the night, go there. Learn how they have those conversations. Be part of the process. So that when the election is over, your party has won, nobody can say they don't know you. Nobody can say you are just coming. You have been active, you have been part of the process. So you can be part of politics as either someone who is part of the process by encouraging the right set of people to go into politics, mobilizing your resources to support them. Or you can be somebody that you are the technocrats that have the ideas, you have the technical know-how that people in politics will have. So you join. When time comes, you get appointment. You can also be the person, that wants to be elected into office.
And I think you can also be the right citizen that would elect the right
Definitely.
person. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And your political awareness will help you to know the right set of candidates. So that, it is not just about, there's a lot of propaganda during elections.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you only see things on the surface because the media will project what the politicians want the media to project.
Mm-hmm.
It's not every media that, is that deep into investigative journalism to say, this person that is showing himself doing makeup, there is also political makeup, like somebody who is a thief, whatever, coming into the public, with the nice branding and everything, they are in everybody's face. They have the money to do all the giveaways, to buy the people's hearts, But being diligent in your own place as it's part of your civic responsibility as a citizen of a country to, during elections, to know the people and vote for the right persons because you want the right people in the position of leadership. And let me also add this, that the Bible says that heaven is God's throne. The heart He has given to the children of men. So what that tells us is that God will not come down to make the change we need. It is the human being like you and me that will make the changes. And the vehicle through which these changes are implemented is through the vehicle of governance, but the process is politics. So we need to realize that if the change will come, we need to be part of the process. Based on the experiences from the last elections, permit me to make that reference, some people are discouraged. People are saying, we voted, our vote did not count. People have genuine reasons to lose interest, in political participation. But the basic reality is that, change doesn't come, in one, full swoop like that, if I'm correct. So change is gradual. It's only revolution that happens like this. But if it is change is sometimes evolutionary. So if we want that change to come, we have to be consistent. So this is my encouragement to those young people who came out during the last election. Some people were on the queue, they were not allowed to vote. And, some people even voted, and at the end of the day, they felt their votes did not count. This is my word to you. Don't be discouraged. This is our country. We have to make things right. And I would encourage that, between last election and the next election is still a very long time. Some of us would need to go back to our localities to be active in the process where you are part of a political party, either as a registered member or not. Because, the last time, they were saying that, there was no structure. But the truth is, building a political structure is not that difficult. Some of you who have the same political ideology, the same political principles, organize yourself. There's a polling unit. There's the ward. There's the local government. You have senatorial districts. You have states. So, go back to your polling unit. Start organizing yourselves. Start having your meetings. So that when the next election comes, start getting familiar with the people in your neighborhood. So that when you start re-registering for voters, getting your voters card, to mobilizing people to come out to vote during elections, you are active. So don't wait till the next election comes and then you now go on Twitter and it's saying, this is the person that will win, So be active from this moment. That structure, you can start building
it in place.
Put it in place. It's people that are structures. Structure is not that difficult to build. If you start now, trust me, if we don't get it right in 2027, by 2031, the young people who came out last year to vote for the very first time, they will be very instrumental in changing this country by 2031 if we are not discouraged. Because trust me, the people you are playing against, they've been in the game for the past 30, 40 years. So you can't just come out in 3 months and 6 months and you think you want to make the change. Be active in the process, invest yourself in it, and among yourself, look for the right persons that you can all rally around. When the time comes, put them forward, give them the necessary support, and trust me, you make the change. And they say a tree does not make a forest. If in the midst of 100 people, you have 5 people who are thinking right, it will be difficult to make the change. So let this change be something that will be everywhere. Let this thirst for change be something that is everywhere, so that when you are putting people forward, they are not just having 8 people out of 109. They are not having 25 people out of 360 people who will be making laws for us. So start spreading the fire, like Ayo said. So that, trust me, let's go there between now and 2027. Let's make the change we can. But trust me, if we can be consistent between now and 2031, that change that we desire will come.
Thank you so much, Wale. It was an insightful session. I really
Thank you.
so much wisdom. I think I need to even watch this.
Thank you.
I learned that change is gradual,
Definitely.
but if we're consistent, we can have what we want.
Yes.
And one thing you mentioned was that as Christians, God will not just come down and rule us.
Yes.
We need to rule out. We need to get into politics and start now. Thank you so much. We are so glad to have you.
It's been a pleasure and it's been fantastic.
All right. Okay. On this note, till next time, thank you for joining. Bye. Can you tell them bye too? Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.